My name's Craig Mathie and I'm the Managing Director of Bournemouth 7's Festival, which is a sport and music festival which happens over at Bournemouth Airport. So that's kind of my day job. I'm also the trustee of a charity called the Steve Bernard Foundation, which is a sporting charity based locally. So I've struggled on and off with kind of my sexuality since I was 21, I think, which is when I kind of first sort of came out to some of my friends and stuff like that, and then effectively had a 10-year journey of hiding from it and struggling with it, dealing with it every now and then after a few beers or that kind of thing, but never really dealing with it. And I found myself just in almost a spiral of sadness. Like, that is honestly an immense, uncontrollable sadness that I found really hard to deal with, and that kind of all came to the fore last Christmas. And I was sat at home chatting to my mum, and I was just in floods of tears, and I hadn't cried in front of my mum probably for about, I don't know, 5 or 6 years since bereavement or whatever. So it was really weird, and she said, "What's wrong?" I literally didn't know. It was difficult for me because I was living what is actually a pretty successful life, I guess. I've got my own house, got a decent car, I've got a job, I've progressed all the way through a company which locally is doing really good things. I sit on national boards for events, and I'm like, to the outside it's like everything's going really well, but the personal section of my life, the chunk that ultimately could make me the happiest, is actually causing me the most sadness. So I arranged to go and sit down with a counsellor for a couple of weeks later, and for me that was like it was almost I'm reluctant to say it, but almost an admission of failure that I hadn't been able to deal with my own stuff myself. But I did it, and I went in, and the rest is kind of history, I guess. So it's made me have conversations with family and friends that I otherwise don't think I'd have ever had, and be much more open. So it's kind of set off for me a almost dominoes falling over of kind of an improvement in myself and how I feel. And I guess the sporting side of that is the day after my last session with the counsellor, I felt as sad that day as I did when I was crying at Mum's house, and I was like, God, I've done all that and I'm in no better place. So I went and got my bike out. I went for a ride, and I got home and I felt so inherently better, and I thought, this is amazing. Like, and actually when I got back I thought about it, and I was like, I am in a better place, and I am much more open, and I've had conversations with friends where I've talked about talking and all this kind of stuff, and you realise how many of your issues are, they make sense to other people if you talk about them, but if you don't, if you retain them, if you keep them locked in, you'll end up in just like that deteriorating cycle of feeling how you feel about yourself, and all those kind of things combined. So yeah, for me it's talking more and it's doing more. Those two things combined have made me better and happier and a much better person.